let's dive into this CD by Eric Church. This is the album The Outsiders. You can see the sticker up here too, which lists The Outsiders and Give Me Back My Hometown, which were the two lead singles off of this album. This album is from 2014, and I can't believe it's been that long already. This is probably one of my favorite Eric Church albums. I go back and forth between a few, but this is definitely a go-to for me. Here's the track listing here on the back. There's The Outsiders. Roller Coaster Ride is really good. Talladega, which was a huge hit for him as well. Like a Wrecking Ball. That's a fantastic song. Devil Devil with the prelude Princess of Darkness. That's a long 8-minute track that to me plays a lot like a Pink Floyd song, just like a country Pink Floyd. I just kind of love the different movements and stuff to that as well. Here's the inside. You can see the disc there. And back there's a picture of Chief. I'll just look at the book real quick. And here you can see all the tracks and the lyrics, and the songwriters for everything. Like Talladega here, which lists Luke Laird, who is one of the top songwriters. I think if you looked him up, you'd be surprised at how many songs Luke Laird has written on it, that you know, if you're into this genre. And there are basically the doors open to see them lusting through with the band and part of The Outsiders. Over here is production notes, as well as all the musicians that play. And on this side are the thank yous. I like here that it says to the fans, our choir, which the fan base is called the Church Choir. But he says, you're where this all starts and ends, and I thank you the most. I always appreciate it when an artist recognizes how important the fans are. And then down here, it says thank you to Jack Daniels, which check it out. And the rest of the track listings here. About it for this book. Like I said, I think this is one of my top favorites, maybe between this Chief and Mr. Misunderstood. I think maybe some of my favorite Eric Church albums. He's one of my top country artists of all time. I think this album too, being a little bit more on a little more rock heavy than what some of his older stuff was, is really nice. But I just want to thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next dive. Today, let's dive into this Ella Langley CD, Still Hungover. I had a request to look at this one after looking into her recent album Dandelion, so I thought we would go ahead and do that today. This album, Still Hungover, is the deluxe version of the album Hungover, and this one just had a few extra songs included on it. including Warrant for the Wind, which in my opinion is probably the best track on here. There's lots of good songs in there, but that one's my favorite. Here's the disc. This has You Look Like You Love Me on it, featuring Wiley Green, which I think everybody knows at this point. And then Girl You're Taking Home, which has been a good hit too. Paint the Town Blue to me is also a favorite, and Broken In, definitely worth checking out. You can see right there, it's just another shot of her. And there's this picture on the booklet. This, the liner notes in here do have all the lyrics, as you'll see. Unfortunately, to me, I was hoping for a couple more pictures in here, but I do love getting the lyrics, especially since Ella's stuff is so well written. It's nice to read all the lyrics and see all the writers and the musicians. But it is pretty straightforward. There's Warrant for the Wind right there. This album was released in 2025, although some of these songs are from 2023 and 2024. I believe Hungover was released late 24, maybe in the summer of 2024. But that is still Hungover, which is still a fantastic album, if you ask me, and I still listen to it often. And the new album is just as good, if not better in some respects. So definitely check these both out. And I want to thank Trent Taco for requesting this. It was really nice to have a request. If anybody else has requests, please let me know. Maybe if I have it, we can go ahead and dive into it. But thank you for joining me on this one, and I'll see you in the next dive. Welcome back, and this time we're going to dive into one of my absolute all-time favorite albums. This is Pearl Jam, their first release, entitled 10. Just one of my top albums of all time. Such amazing music, and at the time especially, we hadn't heard anything really quite like this. You know, Even Flow, Alive, Jeremy, Black, those are all, you know, classics. But songs like Garden and Release, and even Oceans, which is not like your traditional song, but just the soundscape it creates is just fantastic. But this is, of course, their album that was released in 1991. There's the disc. Just again, that kind of purplish pink Pearl Jam written behind it. And we'll take a look at the booklet here. And this booklet is one that folds out into like a full layout. There's a poster on one side and all the lyrics and liner notes are on the other side. Which you can see how how each song is done in a bit of a different way. Whether it is typed lettering or written out. This one on the back of a dollar bill. And the other side is, of course, that right there is the cover. And you can see that those hands are actually the entire band. This is just a, I know that a lot of people, and especially the musicians, hated the term grunge that was applied to this era of music, but they are just one of the founding fathers of it. That Seattle scene, it was just an incredible point in history to be a part of, and I just will always remember growing up in that. And this was the album that really kind of taught me something new to listen to, and expanded my horizons into a lot more music than maybe where I would have been if it hadn't been for that era of alternative rock, and just where that brought music to. If you haven't heard it, I do suggest you dive into it sometime on your own. Well, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one. Today, let's dive into this Saosin CD. This would be their self-titled debut album on Capitol Records. And this is from 2006. Here's the track titles here. I think I remember I liked a lot of this, but I think Voices and You're Not Alone are probably two of the top tracks on here. But again, I actually really liked this album. I know they had a couple EPs before this with their original singer before he left and went and formed the band Circus Survive. So this is with the replacement singer, but I still think really solid stuff, really good music. It's the hardcore, like post-hardcore emo style music, which it's just bringing me back to a different time when I think about it. Let's see the booklet here. And if you unfold this all the way out, you can see the transition inside of the Beetle, eventually breaking its way out of the level. And if you flip through the other sides of this, that's where you'll see the band thanks and all of the lyrics. These early 2000s years of emo music are just such a specific point in time that I think it's been a while now that it's starting to really hit the nostalgic buttons of a lot of people, and I know me included. It is kind of nice to revisit some of this stuff. some of it, like, it really holds up. And I still think that this is a really good album of the genre at the time. But that's this CD for you. And I hope you enjoy that. And I'll see you in the next dive. Let's dive into this Alien Ant Farm CD. This is their debut album, ANThology. And this was from 2001, and it was on DreamWorks Records. All the tracks are listed right here. I think the most well-known song, of course, is Smooth Criminal, their cover of Michael Jackson. However, Movies was a pretty good hit for them. I actually think they don't get enough credit for how good they were musically. And I would check out the track Attitude. I think that is still a fantastic song with a very unique guitar riff, but they did such an amazing cover of Smooth Criminal that I think it did a little bit more harm than good to them, because it kind of pigeonholed them as that Smooth Criminal band instead of being able to really see what they're capable of. I like this logo here with the ant. Flip open the booklet. And on this side you can see this is the lyrics in sort of this DNA helix design, which I think is kind of neat. They are right side up and upside down, so you have to flip it around to read it. And then on the other side, you sort of get this timeline of just some historical type events, just playing into the anthology theme. Again, I think this band was a little bit underrated, but granted, that Smooth Criminal cover is still probably the only way you could cover Michael Jackson and have it come off amazing. I think he's one of those artists that it will always be hard to cover and make something great that can surpass what Michael did. But I do think that their music is fantastic and worth a listen if you are only familiar with a few things. I think it's held up pretty good over the 25 years since this album came out. That's this CD for you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next dive. Welcome back. This time, let's dive into Limp Bizkit's first album, $3 Bill, Y'all. You can see on the cover here the parental advisory label, which I don't think anybody would be surprised by. This is, like I said, their first album, and it was released in 1997 on Interscope. The track listing there is very kid-like artistic design, almost graffiti. But I think the most known song off of this album would be Faith. But this is the start of a massive career for the band. Faith would be the first mention that we would probably get as a mainstream audience, and then the second album just blew up from there. There is the band. This album would be sort of the first mainstream introduction to the new rap metal. There were previous collaboration things that you could classify as it, but I think this is where mainstream started to really lean into it. Here's some small lyrics there. And the inside here, this unfolds pretty long, as you can see. And right there, they list the band members: so Wes Borland, DJ Lethal, Fred Durst, John Otto, Sam Rivers, as well as their thanks and production notes. On the end here, the whole thing is funny. That there is a card to fill out to join their mailing list, where they want you to fill out where you heard of them, what your 3 favorite songs are. Circle your 3 favorite songs on this recording. Do you subscribe to any computer online services? Just like kind of a time capsule of that point in time, the late 90s, where everybody was finally getting online and we were trying to figure out how to use it. The other side of this also folds out long, and you can see some individual thanks that are written on this, but also more of the graffiti style. And just some weird collage of artwork. You can see Mario there. Just drawings, all kinds of stuff. They were either loved or hated at the time, especially as the genre started to wane. I think everything always leaned to more the hated, but you can't deny that they held a moment in time where they were doing something different, something new, and it was connecting with some folks for a bit. And it's just now starting to come around where Fred Durst is popping up here or there, and the band has done some new shows. I guess you live long enough and things come around. That's this CD for you. And I do hope you enjoy that. And I'll see you in the next dive.